So what a ridiculous weekend we have, because we have two major pay-per-views, one of which, of course, is AEW's Double or Nothing. And if you want to say this is their WrestleMania, I kind of get it. I mean, it was the pay-per-view that kicked the whole thing off. We do need to go into guessing mode, though, because we are those kind of fans, so there are a bunch of rumors, and are they true or are they lies? We are going to try and figure it out. Put on your detective hat. And we do indeed start with Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale for the TBS title. I just want to say this. If you are a Willow fan, you should watch this with trepidation, because I don't think you're in for a good night. Because it does make all the sense in the world for Mercedes to win that championship. I mean, why hire the former Sasha Banks if you're not going to push her to the moon? But the reason I think she is going to get her hands on it is because it certainly feels like Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway are about to screw over their best friend. Damn it. I mean, they've just been way too friendly and wink, wink, nudge, nudge over the last few weeks. And of course, there is an asterisk to this. Maybe it's just Chris Statlander that does the screwing, and she goes and joins the Don Callis family. I mean, we've been hinting at that too. Now, I do quite like that because it means that Stokely Hathaway and Willow could continue to be a team and they have great chemistry. But either way, the rumor is that the Mercedes Moné does walk away with that championship because Chris goes, and she smacks Willow right in the back. And I'm actually a big fan of that, because if you give me a Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale feud, and you do it right and you give it time, my word, it could be great. They're also proper friends in real life, and as we know, when it comes to wrestling, real friends always hit harder, so you're going to get that stiffness too. And I think this makes all the sense in the world, and makes Mercedes Moné an even bigger heel, especially if she goes, I'm so happy this did happen. When it comes to my predictomometer, I am giving it a 9 out of 10. And then you're using the pay-per-view to tell more stories on television, and it means we can feature Chris and Willow more, and it also moves Nightingale away from Mercedes, and you're going to have to do something with that too. So I'm very excited about this because I think it could be great, which again, if we go for more rumors, could be the same when it comes to one Takeshita. Now, it was super weird when we announced that it was him versus Jon Moxley at Double or Nothing, because it's not for the IWGP title, and instead it's one of those weird title eliminator contests. I really like them. I like them even less when it gets to a pay-per-view, because I think everything on there should just have all the importance in the world, unless what I read is true, which is, if you can believe it, Mox is gonna lose and Takeshita's gonna win. And that would do him the world of good, because Takeshita's push as of late has been so start-stop, we don't know what's going on. I mean, he was beating Kenny Omega last year, and ever since then he's done a bunch of nothing. But if we do go to something like Double or Nothing, and he beats Jon Moxley, who is New Japan's champion, well, Takeshita can start walking around going, excuse me, I'm the big dog. Don't say big dog. If we do go the other way, it means he's going to lose again in a match that doesn't have the same gravitas as other ones, and that doesn't help anybody. So yes, the rumor he is going to win, and damn it, it has to be true. Now really, I think a lot of this is dependent on how New Japan sees it, because it is their belt, and they get to choose what does happen with it. But I also like to think they are smart cats, and they do have a good relationship with AEW, and also, the Forbidden Door is just around the corner, but it does mean, on my stupid scale, I'm giving it 5 out of 10. We do have two promotions that have to agree here. As we've seen in the past, that can be really, really, really hard. So I do want it, I'm just not convinced, which actually ties into our next rumor, and this only broke recently. My word, it would be a doozy. Because as of Thursday, Fightful is reporting that MJF is actually close to an AEW return. When I did see that, I did the Dance of Joy. Maxwell Jacobs Friedman is great. Now, to be fair, within this story, they mentioned that it would be at the Forbidden Door show, which actually makes more sense because it is in New York. But there was also a little bit that said, or maybe sooner than that. And what has Tony Khan been saying ever since he has been doing press for Double or Nothing? Well, it's our 5-year anniversary, and I have some massive surprises. And I'm sorry, the return of MJF? I don't think you can do bigger than that. I mean, there's so many things you could throw out there too. I mean, maybe he makes a surprise appearance after the Swerve Strickland match because he does want his World Championship back. Or maybe it comes in Anarchy in the Arena. I mean, that is Team AEW versus Team Elite, and he could fit into either side. It ties into the Bobby Heenan quote, whose side is he on? My only worry is that there's been no specific update about his health, which is the reason he did go away. He had a seriously bad shoulder injury, and even though he did try to rehab it, there was more rumors out there that he was going to have surgery. And if that's the case, I don't think he'd be good to go. But again, nobody knows anything. That man went quiet. His presence back on Dynamite would be huge though, and speaking of the pay-per-view, if all of a sudden people hear, oh my gosh, he did come back, you may get a lot of post-pay-per-view buys, That's how you get your numbers up. I still think this pay-per-view is a little bit too soon, and you could probably do it in June and July, especially because if you do return then, do you know what you're also going to be ready for? All in Wembley Stadium. And you've got to figure he wants to be involved in that. So once again, this is a 5 out of 10 because of course it may happen, but it may not happen. And I would imagine it's totally down to Maxwell. I mean, in the same post, Fightful also said he signed a massive contract extension after Double or Nothing 2022. So he probably still has a couple more years on his deal. So we can be patient here, but I am going slap bang in the middle. Somebody who won't be there this weekend, sadly, none other than Kenny Omega. Because yes, there was some chat that maybe he could pop up during the Anarchy in the Arena match, because do not forget, when it comes to Team Elite, they basically murdered Ken on television, so maybe he wanted to come out here and get his revenge. And look, that would be a fabulous surprise, but I don't think it's going to happen. Mainly, because poor Kenny just had surgery. This, of course, is because he is battling diverticulitis at the moment, so just let the man rest. I mean, I would rather he came back in 42 years and was 100% healthy as opposed to just doing something for the sake of doing something. Like, of course you want Kenny Omega involved in your 5-year special, but nothing is more important than your health and your happiness. This only went down recently as well, so there's no way he's going to be feeling that great. And I'm so against this, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. Like, yes, of course it makes sense. He would want to be there within the narrative, but we're talking about real life people. This is way more important. As we are talking about this match too, some people rumored that Tony Khan is going to get physically involved, and I'm saying absolutely not. And he himself in a press call said when it comes to him on television, less is more, and the only reason he popped up on Dynamite this week is because Darby Allin was banned from the arena, and somebody had to give him the 2 thumbs up to be allowed to go back in there, and if it's not the Elite, the only person with any power within AEW is Tony Khan. So that's why he went and did it. That also tied into the story as well, but otherwise, we do not need it. Like, I really enjoyed the angle when the Young Bucks did beat him up, because I was like, I can't believe this, but you don't need to see him come to the ring with like a flamethrower or something like that. Although I guess that's another rumor, that Darby is going to set somebody on fire. I mean, we did tease that on AEW, but both of these scare me to such a degree, I'm giving it a 1 out of 10. I don't need it, and I certainly don't need to see it. Speaking of Tony as well, we'll go back to what he did say during his pre-press conference, which is that he does have some big surprises, and you can't just do MGF, even if that was on the cards. So what else could he possibly be teasing? Now, the one that people want to throw out there straight away is Adam Cole, who of course has also been on the shelf for ages. And it is kind of interesting, because we haven't had an update on him in ages. Maybe that's the point. Out of sight, out of mind. Makes the surprise better. It would also be the same for somebody like Jamie Hayter, who could confront a Mercedes Moné after her big title win, and then you could start promoting that match for All In. And can you imagine? My word, that would be flubbing great. We also had to confirm recently that Sammy Guevara isn't actually suspended anymore, and Creative are just trying to figure out a way to get him back into the whole show. And actually, this is the one that I'm going to double down on, because I think that could happen. Because of course, we are going to get Chris Jericho versus Hook versus Shibata for the FTW title. And if you wanted a way out of this, where Shibata and Hook were both protected, do you know who could join the learning tree? That's right, it would indeed be Sammy Guevara. Now, I'm a little bit worried about this, because poor Sam has been associated with Chris Jericho since day one. I mean, the Inner Circle were created on the debut of Dynamite. And while I have no problem with that, because I think Chris Jericho is great, and I think Sammy Guevara is great, it just kind of feels like we've done this to death. It's like anything in life, I'd rather we tried something new. Execution is everything though, so there's every chance we could pull this off, and I do like it. And I am going to give it a 7 out of 10, because again, if you are looking for surprises, and you do want to bring back AEW OGs, and Sammy is ready to go, then why the flub wouldn't you do it? In fact, it's weirder you choosing not to. He's right there, factor him back in. I also don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that we see Kota Ibushi at Double or Nothing. I know that sounds crazy, but it does tie to Anarchy in the Arena. If Kenny Omega can't be there, and you want someone to get revenge on his behalf, well, why wouldn't you get his best friend, who these days basically is associated with All Elite Wrestling? As it is going to be a shenanigans match, he doesn't have to, and nor should he do anything major. He should just walk to the ring and smack somebody on the head. Now listen, the last time we heard about this poor man, he was going through it too, so I don't mind him having appearance here, but for the love of everything, please protect him. Anarchy in the Arena, though, is built for these kind of surprises, though, because of course there are no rules, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10, because again, I can see it happening. I just want to point out here and double down on it. For the love of everything, treat him with kid gloves. Which brings us to our most recent absentee as well. Hangman Adam Page. Somebody did have the idea and tied it into a rumor that ever since Hangman has gone away, Swerve Strickland has won the World Championship. And what did the Cowboy say before he did leave for a little while? I will never let this happen. So he's probably really mad about it. To Hollywood send the internet crazy, there is a chance that he does come out and screws over Swerve Strickland, which would mean he loses the world title to Christian. I know you're now shouting it's too soon for him to lose, but actually there is some logic here. Because you would have to tread absolutely carefully and have a plan to recrown Swerve as soon as possible. But not only would this reignite an awesome feud that people love, and once again you could do that all in, but it would also tell everybody, oh, you thought you were getting a long title reign? Well, we've just told you, audience, you need to keep an eye on our show. Nothing is concrete, and we'll do whatever we want. Once again, Tony Khan has promised us surprises, and that would be a huge one. And I suppose the only difficult thing here is that we will main event with Anarchy in the Arena, which means Swerve will probably be the semi-main event, and doing a Hangman Adam Page angle there, as opposed to the end of the show, well, it may just be a little bit anticlimactic. We'll get people talking after the fact though, and again, there are some other things here, but I am going to give it a 3 out of 10. I don't think you need to bring Hangman Adam Page just yet, but when he does come back, should he go after Swerve Strickland, you bet your ass. Once again, he totally can screw him over. I think that would be really funny in the best possible way. And these two are basically like the Batman and the Joker these days, so if we can make the program even better, we totally should. I want them to get to the end of their careers and look back and go, man, we just did it over and over and over again, and it was always good. That's the power I think it had. I am sure there's going to be other surprises as well that I'm not even thinking about, because every time Tony Khan does sow these words, he always delivers. The most important part is you. Now get in those comments below. Let me know your predictions, let me know your rumors, and let me know your surprises. Maybe you'll get it right too. Otherwise, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is my predictions for other pay-per-views, premium live events, which I always get wrong. I said predictions, I mean rumors. I mean, they're all the same at the end of the day. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining me, my friends. I don't need that anymore. Weird train hat. Lands on a coat peg, that's always nice. Make sure you do enjoy all the wrestling madness this weekend. I'll see you for all those ups and downs, and then I'll see you next week. Goodbye.